Hello everyone. Today we will learn regarding osteology. Osteology means study of bones. It can be compared with osteosharir in Ayurveda. In this chapter, we will deal with definition of bone, classification of bone according to position, axial, appendicular, according to size and shape, short, long, pneumatic, etc. According to growth structure, according to development, as well as function of the bones and components of bone. First, we will start with synonyms of bones. In Latin, term is os. In Greek, osteon. Compare with the terms osteology means study of bones, ossification development of bone, osteomyelitis. Itis means there will be inflammation on bone. Osteomalacia means there will be softening of the bone due to deficiency of vitamin D, calcium, etc. Osteoma, tumor or new growth is on the, in short, there will be a tumor on the bone. Osteotomy, removing of the bone for realignment of bone structure. Now, definition. Bone is 1/3 connective tissue. It is impregnated with calcium salts which constitute 2/3 part. The inorganic calcium salts, mainly calcium phosphate, partly calcium carbonate, and traces of other salts, make it hard and rigid, which can afford resistance to compressive forces of weight bearing and impact of forces of jumping. The organic connective tissue, collagen fibers, makes it tough and resilient, which can afford resistance to tensile flexible forces. In strength, bone is comparable to iron steel. Okay, in short, you can remember it as a chart form. Bone is 1/3 connective tissue. It is impregnated with calcium salts, which constitute 2/3 parts. The inorganic and organic. Inorganic form a chart. Inorganic calcium salts, mainly calcium phosphate, calcium carbonates, etc. Then its function. What does it do? Make it hard and rigid, which can afford resistance to compressive forces of weight bearing and impact forces of jumping. Now, second chart, organic connective tissue. Collagen fibers makes it tough and resilient, which can afford to resistance to tensile forces. Okay. Diagram of skeleton starting from craniocaudally, cranium, scapula, vertebrae big side, humerus, one on each side, ribs, sternum, pelvis, two hip bone, and sacrum forms the pelvis, radius ulna, femur, patella, tibia, fibula, talus, okay, phalanges, okay, etc. Division of skeletal system. Regions of the skeleton and number of the bone. Axial skeleton, skull, cranium. Okay, in skull, cranium, 8 number. Face, there are 14 number of bone. Height, 1 number. Auditory ossicles, stapes, malleus, incus, 3 in each ear. Total 6 in number. Vertebral column, 26. In thorax region, sternum 1, ribs 24. Axial skeleton, which are located in central portion of the body. Now, appendicular skeleton, which are attached to the axis. Okay, pectoral girdles or shoulder girdles, clavicle 2 in number, scapula 2, upper extremities humerus, 1 on each side, ulna, radius 2 in number, carpal 16, metacarpals 10, phalanges 28, pelvic girdle, pelvic or hip bone 2 in number, lower extremities femur 2 in number, fibula one on each side, tibia one on each side, patella same, tarsal 14, metatarsal 10, phalanges 28. You have to remember numbering of the carpal and tarsal. Carpal bones are 16 in number, tarsal 14 in number. It can be asked in Viva. Okay. Classification of bone according to position. Axial bone forming according to position, axial and appendicular. Axial means which are located in center portion of the body, and appendicular which are attached to the axis. Bones forming the axis of the body, skull, ribs, sternum and vertebrae, that we have discussed and seen on the diagram of skeleton. Appendicular bones forming the skeleton of limbs. Now according to size and shape, short, long, etc., according to growth structure, according to development. According to size and shape, long bones present in upper and lower limbs possesses three parts: upper end, lower end, and shaft. Suppose in this diagram, femur, long bone, it upper end head, greater trochanter, lesser trochanter, lower end condyles, okay, medial lateral and shaft. Okay, this can be included in a long bones. The two ends are usually expanded, that we have seen in diagram, for forming articulation and giving attachment to muscle and ligaments. The shaft is tubular with central medullary cavity. Long bone act as a levers for movements and locomotion. Okay, humerus, radius, ulna, femur, tibia, fibula, etc. Okay, its function: long bone act as a levers for movement and locomotion. Now regarding short bones, same as long bone but are miniature in size. It means short or small in size, metacarpal, metatarsal and phalanges. Now short bones. Small polyhedral, generally cuboid in shape. Short bones provide strength and compactness, but range of movement is limited. Okay, examples are carpal and tarsal. Carpal bones are 16, whereas tarsal are 14 in numbers. Now flat bones, expanded and plate-like. They protect vital structure and provide extensive areas for muscular attachment. Example: scapula, ribs, sternum, parietal, frontal bones. Okay, their appearance will be plate-like and function protection. Okay, scapula, ribs, sternum, etc. protect the lung, heart, pericardium, etc. Parietal, frontal bones protect the brain. Okay, now irregular. Name suggests irregular in general outline and do not fit in any of the above categories. Means it will be irregular in all aspect. Vertebrae, hip bone, bones in the base of the skull. These were the examples of the irregular bone. Now pneumatic bones. Pneumatic bones, certain irregular bones contain larger air spaces lined by epithelium. They make the skull light in the weight, help in resonance of voice, and act as a air conditioner chambers for inspire air. Okay. Example: maxilla, sphenoid, ethmoid. Okay, in this diagram you can see frontal sinus, ethmoid sinus and ethmoid bone, sphenoid sinus, maxillary sinus. Again, in this diagram you can see sphenoid bone, red color marking, ethmoid bone, maxilla bone. Okay, in short, they are filled with air sinuses, pneumatic bones, and their function is light reduction of weight as well as helps in resonance of voice and function as a AC, air conditioning chamber. Okay. Now sesamoid bonds. Sesamoid bonds we have seen in anatomical terminology, which are developed in tendons of the muscles. These are bony nodules found embedded in the tendons or joint capsule. They have no periosteum and ossify after birth. Okay, these are the peculiarity of sesamoid bone. They have no periosteum and ossify after birth. They are related to articular or non-articular bony surfaces, and surface contact are covered with hyaline cartilage. Okay, surface covered with hyaline cartilage and lubricated by bursa or synovial membrane. Example: patella is a large sesamoid bone, and around it or uh, around knee joint there are approximately 13 bursa. Okay, then pisiform fibula. Now functions of the sesamoid bones: resist pressure, minimize friction, alter the direction pull of the muscle. Okay, to maintain the local circulation. First, resist pressure, minimize friction, alter the direction pull of the muscle to maintain the local circulation. Accessory, or its name suggests, accessory, helping, or supernumerary bones. Bones are not always present. This may occur as ununited epiphyses. Epiphyses develop from the extra centers of the ossification. Why it occurs? Due to ununited epiphyses develop from extra centers of the ossification. Examples: lateral tubercle of talus and tuberosity of fifth metatarsal. In this diagram you can see tuberosity of the fifth metatarsal. In second image by arrow suggests tuberosity of the fifth metatarsal bone. In medical legal practice, you should not understand that is it fracture or inflammatory condition, and by considering inflammatory condition, giving NSAID, a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. So first you have to rule out that is it accessory bones or any pathological condition. Okay. Same in medical legal practice, accessory bones may be mistaken for fracture. However, these are often bilateral and have smooth surface without any callus. Okay. Now heterotopic. Heterotopic bones sometimes develop in soft tissue. Okay. Horse rider develop bones in adductor muscles. Adductor muscle also termed as rider's bones. Adductor muscle is the muscles of the medial compartment of thigh. Its function is, action is adduction of thigh. Term is rider's bone, sesamoid bone, which develops in the tendon of the adductor longus. Due to position while horse riding, it is termed as horse riding or horse riding muscles or rider's muscles and rider's bone. Okay, heterotopic. Now, according to growth structure. According to growth structure, compact, spongy and diploic. 3. First we have seen according to size and shape: long, flat, pneumatic, heterotopic, accessory, etc. Now according to growth structure. According to growth structure, compact, spongy and diploic bone. Compact, the outer cortical part of the long bones, which is hard and has a homologous appearance. Spongy, okay, the spongy bone, the inner part of the bone which is less hard and presents a spongy appearance. Flat, short, irregular bones and ends of the long bones. Compact bone, outer cortical part of long bone which is hard and has a homogeneous appearance. Diploic, let me In this diagram you can see compact bond as well as spongy bond. Okay, epiphysis, articular cartilage, epiphyseal line, spongy line, metaphysis, endosteum, medullary cavity, compact bond, periosteum. Okay, now diploic consists of inner and outer tables of compact bond with an intervening porous layer which is occupied by spongy substance and consisting of bone marrow and diploic veins, most of the cranial bones. In this diagram, outer table diploic layer, inner table emissary veins, same diploic veins, also term emissary vein, endosteal layer of dura mater, diploe, inner table dura sinus, inner table dura mater, meningeal layer of dura mater, falx cerebri. Okay, in short, diploic means consists of inner and outer tables that we have seen in diagram. Compact bond with an intervening porous layer which is occupied by spongy substance that we have seen. Okay, according to cross structure, compact, spongy and diploic. Now we will see regarding developmental classification. Developmental classification: membranous, cartilaginous and membrocartilaginous. Name suggests membranous, dermal, bone ossify in membrane, intramembranous or mesenchymal ossification. Examples: bones of vault of skull and facial bones. Okay, cartilaginous bones ossify in cartilage, intracartilaginous, the bone which is formed from endochondral ossification. Examples: bones of limbs, vertebral column and thoracic cage. Membranocartilaginous ossify partly in membrane and partly in cartilage. Examples: clavicle, mandible, occipital, temporal and sphenoid. Okay, three developmental classification: membrane, cartilaginous and membrocartilaginous. Okay, you have to it is easy to remember. Membrane, ossify in membrane, the bone which is formed in the endochondral ossification. Membranocartilaginous ossify partly in the membrane. Now somatic bones. Most of the bones are somatic. Visceral bones, these develop from the pharyngeal arches, pharyngeal arch, etc. we will see in embryology. Examples are hyoid bones, part of the mandible and ear ossicles, okay, which are derivatives of pharyngeal arches. Now we will see regarding based on microscopic structure. Lamellar, woven, these are the mature human bones. Lamellar bone has orderly arranged lamellae. Okay, orderly arranged lamellae. In this diagram you can see second type, lamellar bone, orderly arranged lamellae. Woven bone, these are found in young fetal bone, callus at the site of the fracture healing. Woven bone has disorderly arranged and lamellae. These lamellae form an irregular network and give appearance of woven fabric. Woven, as you know, its appearance woven. Okay. Okay, so we have discussed according to shape and size. Okay, cross structure, then developmental and microscopic, lamellar and woven. Thank you everyone.